I ended up crying in his arms
while he's
inside of me.
Love that.
It's so crazy when I watched back the video. It's so audibly different from before. Like, I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever been that wet in a scene as I was after we had that conversation. Because, yeah, like, I just ended up, like, crying in his arms because I had some realizations, and he was just there. He just pet my head and was just like, let it out. It's okay. I left it in the scene because I think people should see that. I think people should see that, like, sex isn't just about, like, fucking a hole. Sex can be a deeply intimate experience where you can share your deepest, darkest shit with somebody and they can be there for you.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
Are you ready for the Unleashed tour, where shamelessness, sexiness, and laughter collide in a hilarious orgy of fun, discovery, and sex edutainment? Embark on a captivating nationwide journey with the Shameless Sex podcast and an electrifying ensemble of sex educators and sex-positive entertainers as they bring you an unforgettably titillating live experience. Be a part of mesmerizing, entertaining, boundary-pushing acts, shameless sex style. Ever heard of the Slurpee stick shift? Want to learn how to bury your face in her? How about some dirty talk improv or brat taming 101?
Get ready for nonstop laughter as our charismatic hosts and entertainers weave humor into the fabric of this liberating celebration of sexual diversity and freedom. Engage in interactive segments, Q&A sessions, and a chance to connect with like-minded individuals in an inclusive and empowering environment. Listen up, Portland, Chicago, Seattle, we're coming to you. For more information and to get your tickets right now, go to shamelesssex.com and be part of a night that will be fun, educational, sexy, hilarious, and shamelessly unforgettable. Seats are filling up fast, so don't miss out on the most unforgettable show of the year.
Welcome to the Man-Whore Podcast.
Shout out to the birthday boys, to the hentai Geminis, and all the women finding out if their men are boyfriends or cake. This is Billy Presida, and you are listening to the Man-Whore Podcast. I do fear that the Gen Z one day will get so too deep into TikTok brain rot that we will have a string of criminal cases of young women slicing the throats of their boyfriends because they were just like, I wanted to find out if he was cake. That will be the modern day Slender Man. That's my prediction. This week on the podcast, I have polyamorous porn star Alison Rey. This was a delight. This is one of my favorite porn star conversations. She is engaging. She is fun. And she is smitten with a new boy. And don't we love to hear all about that? And I will be sharing my conversation with Alison with y'all in just a little bit. But first, if you are in the New York City area, the Naked Comedy shows are back in Brooklyn, June 14th. We have 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. shows, and you can get your tickets at the top of the schnotes. You can use promo code SHWEDY for $5 off. But you do have to figure out how to spell Shweddy, okay? That's the deal. Also, last week, my conversation with Jen Harris, so many of you seem to enjoy it. I'm so glad. And her short film, She's Clean, is out today on Vimeo. And on Monday, June 10th, I'm going to be hosting a She's Clean watch party. We're going to watch the short film together, have a dialogue, have a chit-chat, take a vote which one of the men she showered with was the weirdest one. That's going to be in our Discord server, The Champagne Room. This will be free to anyone to join us. You just got to go join the Discord. Link in the schnotes or visit manwhorepod.com/Discord. Again, that's going to be June 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Probably start the movie around like an 8:15-ish. Alison's not the only one smitten. I'm not going to do the kiss of death and go too deep in the weeds on someone who just spent almost 2 weeks out here. That is intense, right? We can talk about that together as an audience another time. The important thing is I went home to celebrate my birthday over the weekend, and when I go drive home to Jersey, I bring my laundry to do. And I don't ask my mom to do my laundry. I am not that kind of bummy 30-something, but I do my laundry for free in Jersey. So I brought my laundry there, and I put in a load, and then we had to go over to my dad's house for some grilling and to play with the babies. My 2-year-old nephew can uncomfortably say the word Chardonnay far too easily. We're looking at you, Pop. But while I'm there, I realized, oh gosh, I need just my wash to go into the dryer. So I asked my mom if she would just move the wash to the dry. And then she took it upon herself, which is very lovely, to throw in another load of laundry. But the laundry that she put in included the sheets from my nearly 2-week visit with this woman that I've been talking to. And, look, a lot of sex was had. New sheets had to be bought. I am a gross man, but I can admit when sheets are finally used, these were visibly so. I get back to my mom's house. I go over to look at to put in a load of laundry. I see that she did it for me, but I saw that it was going to run for an hour and over an hour. It seemed way too long for a load of wash to be running. So I said, "Hey mom, did you throw a load of my laundry in?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Thank you. That's so nice." It says, "Did you set it for a really heavy soiled wash setting?" She said, "Yeah. It seemed like they could use it." Great. Good. That's fine. Thank you, Mother. This is going to be like when I randomly walked into the living room and you were reading a copy of The Ethical Slut and we're just not going to discuss it. That's okay. That's fine. I'm not mortified at all. But it was a nice little birthday trip home. You're actually listening to this today on my birthday. It's my 35th birthday, which means I'm now in a new marketing demographic. I am now part of the 35 to 44. And no one warned me that only your left foot is going to start to hurt if you don't drink enough water. Luckily, this lady who came out to visit, she's early 40s, so I got some good health warnings. She left me a spray bottle of magnesium. She said, you're going to wake up on Wednesday and you're going to need this. So I'm actually recording this on Tuesday. So I'm terrified for what tomorrow's going to feel like. And do you want to wish me a happy birthday? You know the best way to do it. You know I'm going to say it. I'll keep shaming you till you do it. Join the Patreon. It's $3. One of you was really kind and sent me a birthday check in the mail like you were my grandmother. Oh my gosh, thank you for the $50. You know who you are. But the rest of you, it's only $3 to wish me a happy birthday. Join the Patreon. Be like Mickey, who's getting this week's Fan Whore Appreciation Moment. Thank you very much, Mickey, for #paying for some of your podcasts. Become a member today. Support the pod you clearly enjoy. Wish me a happy birthday with your credit card at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. My roommate has silently been taking her pots and pans back into her room so that I will not use them anymore. So I do need to buy new pots so I can make me some pastas. I'm just saying the Patreon helps get a pot for Billy's pasta. Insert Italian catchphrase here. Alison Rey, she's here. Alison Rey has been in the porn industry for 10 years. This is an awesome conversation. I was super engaged the whole time. For all the people who did not join the Patreon, we got some ads coming up. But then my conversation with Alison Rey. Enjoy ad-free episodes at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. I did call Matt yesterday. I was like, so what's the skinny on Alison Rey?
And what did he tell you?
He told me the divorce. He told me about that. He did make it sound like it was more recent.
Yeah. Well, the divorce, it depends on like your definition of recent. I feel like it's fairly recent because it was like a year and a half ago that he asked for a separation, but we were like we were trying to talk through things. We were seeing each other. We were still fucking for a year, and then he moved to Washington State, and that's where things actually started. You know, like that's where it started to feel real. So, I mean, technically it's been like 4 months of him actually living far away from me and me like we are getting divorced seriously instead of like, that's never going to happen. He's going to come around.
Oh, really? Yeah. You thought he was going to come back. He just needed a sabbatical.
Well, you know, the ultimatum he issued me was very much it was a heat of the moment emotional thing. And I thought with enough counseling, with enough talking, with enough whatever, he was going to come around. Because at the end of the day, like when I met him, I told him I'm poly. Like I don't date just one person. And I don't know if he just couldn't imagine what the reality of that would be like. But I was like very seriously falling in love with another guy. And I really wanted him around like all the time. And my husband was like, not cool with that. And I was like, kind of not your choice. Like I told you this is who I was. And you married me anyway.
Did you not believe it? Did he not believe you were poly the same way you're not believing you're getting divorced?
I think so. I think we were both just kidding ourselves. We were like hoping that we were different people than we were. I think we both projected fantasies of who we wanted onto the other person. We were both very emotionally unavailable that way. And I've been working very hard in therapy to move past that. But yeah, I think it was either that or I think he is a very, very attentive man. He is going to make a great partner for somebody. Like it was just this how I want to do relationships thing that didn't work out for us. He's very attentive and is like really good at taking care of people like physically, like, you know, he's acts of service. He does a lot of acts of service. And because of that, you know, I thought he was, you know, the person for me. I'm trying to remember how I got on this. You asked me a question and then I lost my train of thought. That's something I do a lot. I lose my train of thought.
You were on quite the train. You were doing great.
Yeah. Gosh, the divorce. Oh, what did he? Yes. Okay. So he's very good at like taking care of people. And I'm somebody I needed to be taken care of a lot when we met. I was not in a good place.
And so how long ago did y'all? How long were y'all? Were y'all together?
We met late in 2018.
Okay.
So I was in a dark place. I'd only started therapy like 5 months before. I really needed somebody to take care of me, and he did. But I think there's maybe a part of him that thinks if I take care of her, if I love her enough, then she won't need poly anymore. She'll see that she only needs me. And I don't think he's even aware of it. I think if he ever listens to this episode, I'm probably going to get a phone call and get yelled at. But and it's not a bad thing either. I'm not being like, you
haven't shit talked him once yet.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Give it time. No, okay, sorry.
No, but that like I would never shit talk him. Like I love him dearly, and that's the thing is, when I started talking about this on my TikTok, back when it first happened, and we were still living together, I got a lot of talking tos about that I'm shit talking him all over social media when I'm just kind of sharing what happened and my perspective on it. And that was something he just didn't get, which kind of drove me further away emotionally. I never realized like why people say so much that it's like you find out who people are like towards the end, like you find out who they really are. And fuck, was that disappointing. You know, it was just a very different person than I saw during the relationship. I'd just never seen him hurt like that. And I understand the part that I played in it. And I'm not saying that I'm innocent or that he shouldn't have been hurt. Like our personalities didn't match up right.
When you saw who he really was, do you feel like that's who he was? Or do you feel like he just changed and that's who he was then?
I think when I say who he really was, there were some things I felt were like a little vindictive, and which I'm sure he felt the same way about me. So like, you know, it's all perspective. It's all a matter of perspective. But he told me a story back before we got together. He told me a story about how he reacted to the news of a former girl doing something he didn't like. And I remember that kind of raising a red flag for me in the beginning, but I liked him, so I ignored it. And so when there was some lashing out when he was hurt with me, I was like, oh shit, like there it is. It's just taken him this long. And I think a lot of it was like, he's a very stoic guy. And a lot, like, you know, I think a lot of us do it. Not even just him, just people. People like to bottle up their emotions. And because of that, it all just kind of blew up at once. And that was where I saw like, oh, now I see who you really are. Not like you're a mean, vengeful person, but I see that you are a person who bottles up all of their feelings and you will let them out all at once and like totally lash out at the people you love because of it. That's what I mean when I see who he really is.
Yeah.
It's not an objective bad person. No. It's just a person who deals with their feelings differently than I do. And that was really hard to see and like accept. If I've learned anything from this experience of like going through the process of getting divorced, it's that I really need someone who will be as direct and blunt with me about problems and tell me how I can fix it. Because that's what I do to my partners. And like, maybe that's not a good thing, but like, I will tell my partners how to love me correctly. And I want a partner that's going to do the same for me.
And why wouldn't they want that? Because it's like, oh, cool, you're just going to give me the cheat code? Great. I don't have to guess my way for the first 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't understand the people. Like, I think that maybe for some people it pokes the hole in like the fantasy of romance of like, no, I'm just gonna get it. Yes. I'm just gonna what I'm gonna do, you're gonna love because I love you, and that's fucking enough. And it's like, no, sometimes
which is a beautiful sentiment, but it's also
great movie.
It's a great movie. It's a very childlike perspective on how romance and love is gonna work.
Yeah, it pokes a hole in the fantasy. I think in the same way that some people think like talking about consent, maybe ahead of a sexual encounter can like poke the hole in the hotness of the hookup. It's like, I don't know. I think it can make, if you do it right, it even hotter. Like, it doesn't have to be this nervous. Excuse me. What are your boundaries and what are the words? And here's a little checklist of things can I do? Hair, choking, spitting. It's like, actually, you can do it in this like way where like you got eye contact, real deep. You're connected. You're physically close. Maybe you're touching like certain parts of the body just as you ask the questions through, and then it become really hot. Yeah. I think some first kisses that were like really hot were where I asked, but what's up?
We got a knock.
Hello? Housekeeping?
Oh, no, thank you.
No, thank you. Do you need anything?
No, I'm good. Nope, good. Thank you.
Okay, for a second I thought we were in Dude, Where's My Car? And it was like, and then? No, and then. Yeah, you know, their fantasy is nice, and it's nice to like think about it, but then like we do have to bring ourselves down to reality so we can maybe get as close to the fantasy as we can. Yeah,
if you get really, really close to reality and you can accept who you are and what you need and not feel that it's too much or feel that you have to be a different person than you are in order to be loved. If you can just accept who you are, then you can go find somebody that will do that. And I'm finally understanding like that's what they mean when they say like you can't love somebody until you love yourself. I think it actually means if you love yourself enough to know that like you are okay as you are for who you are as a person, and you can love that, then you are accepting enough of who you are that you can then find the person who is going to love you as equally as you love yourself. And then you can love them because they're, it's a very symbiotic relationship at that point. But you have to know who you are and you have to be okay with it in order to go find that thing.
Mm-hmm. And you also got to like not ignore those little red flags in the early, because we see those early red flags and we just start like calling them a different color. It's like, that's more chartreuse. It's not red.
Yes.
It's not, it's chartreuse. It's fine. It's going to be okay. And then someone's like, no, that's definitely red. I don't know. Looks purple to me. It's definitely red, Billy.
We totally do that.
She left her husband a week ago. Probably a red flag, Billy. She's never done poly before. Probably red flag.
Yeah.
He's a stand-up comedian? Oh, big red flag, girl. Red flag. Okay.
I used to do like ignore red flags all the time. I'm fucking tired of it.
So now when you encounter stuff, do you go, and now I'm not going to pursue this, or do you try to communicate the way to see if the red flag can start not being a red flag? Like this new person you said you're smitten with.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I haven't seen a red flag yet. But that's the thing. I only met him a month ago, and he lives in another state. I'm sure the more time I spend with him, something will come up, or it won't, and then that would be incredible. But when I have seen red flags in people since the separation started, there was one guy that I was definitely ignoring them because I was like, well, I'm really hurt after my divorce separation thing. I just want to be with somebody right now. I don't want to be alone right now.
Yeah.
And then once that wore off, God, I feel so fucking bad for him. I hate that was like a big motivation for being with. Like, I really liked him as a person, but I also knew deep down I like wanted to be alone, but I was also scared of being alone and going through the pain of my divorce alone. And so I broke up with him because that wasn't fair to him. And, it was also because, like, I did see some red flags for, like, what the future would look like. And I communicated them. He heard them.
Can you share what those red flags were?
I'd rather not.
That's okay.
Yeah. Just because, it's a person. It's a different person's things. But when I saw those red flags, this time I actually kind of went, oh, I see that. And I'm not going to ignore it this time. So I spoke up about it. And he would listen. He was a great listener. He would change the thing, and then, something would kind of, it would be like he'd fix it to like make me happy, but then it would come back up again.
Because it wasn't actually fixed. He just put a little Band-Aid over it.
Exactly. And I was like, that's not how I want to live my life. Like, I do want a long-term partner, but that's not what I want. And so this is, do I fix it or do I just move on? So I give them the chance to fix it. And then if it pops up again, I know that it's just going to keep popping up. And that's where I'll stop pursuing it. Or in his case, I was like, I'm done pursuing anything serious. I don't want to be in anything committed with you, but like, I would love to be friends. I would love to have sex sometimes. Like, I have feelings for you, but I don't right now, as like the people that we currently are, I don't see them having a future together. Maybe the we that we are 5 years from now, after we've both done some individual healing, had more experiences and whatever, maybe. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah.
But
what came first for you, the poly or the porn?
Ooh, that's a very complicated question.
I'm sure it is.
When I was, hello, tummy. That's why I had a snack earlier, hoping it wouldn't do that, but that's okay. When I was in, can I say a number? Yeah. Okay, when I was 16, sure. Sometimes like people are like, you can't say anything under 18 because we're talking about sex and porn and whatever. So
yeah, like I mean, I think it depends. Like, it depends. Like, how intimate of the questions are we asking about this 16-year-old sex?
That's fair.
Are you? Does it sound like someone tapped into something you're into that you don't want people to know? Or are we just like talking about people's past?
Yeah, well, that's fair. It's so funny because like there's a lot of podcasts, when they're like very adult industry focused, they want to stay away from naming numbers like that because they don't want to like encourage it or whatever. And I'm like, people don't magically become sexual the day they turn 18.
Right.
Like it starts much earlier for most of us. Like that's when puberty starts. Like that's the natural time. And I'm not saying that we should be glorifying it or that we should be like making a thing of it, but talking about it as if it never exists until you're 18 is ludicrous.
By not talking about it, that's what ends up fucking people up later when they're adults.
Yes.
You know, because we made them feel weird, like you can't talk about their experimental teenage sex.
Exactly.
As long as they're not experimenting with dudes in their 30s, right?
Right. But the podcast, the age.
I imagine the poly came first if we're starting at 16.
Yes.
Because unless you're pulling a Tracy Lords.
But no, not about the porn. I'm talking about the poly. Okay. Your face, you're like, wait a second.
I wasn't gonna stop you. I was just like, okay, we got a clip.
No.
What's the timestamp? No.
That's really funny. When I when my first serious boyfriend, I was very interested from the get-go of him being with other girls. I would have crushes on multiple guys, and I loved the idea of more than one, but I didn't really know there was a word for it. Mm-hmm. So I cheated a lot, and it felt really shitty. I did not like doing that to people. It made me like, and you know, I feel like it made me like I felt like a bad person doing it, but I realized there were just a lot of needs that were going unfulfilled for whatever reason. But I wanted to stop hurting people by cheating on them. I didn't like the feeling of lying to the person I'm supposed to love the most. And then I started porn.
Okay.
Did that for a couple of years.
Did you start porn at 18? I was trying to do age math when I was
You're trying to do age math. Got it. No, I started at 18. Okay. Like I was about to turn 19 when I started.
Gotcha.
And it was about 2 years after that, I started working with the Center for Positive Sexuality in Los Angeles. And one of their things they do is education outreach. So we go to college campuses and we talk in human sexuality classes, things like that, and teach about different topics. There's a kink panel. There's a sex worker panel. There's like
everything Floridians are worried we're teaching in schools.
Yeah, exactly. And we do a ethical non-monogamy and polyamory panel. And I'd never really heard of it. I didn't know that it was a thing people did. And after I heard, because I had to go in and observe it before I was able to like be a panelist, but I learned about polyamory and the way that they explained it, it was just like a light bulb went off in my brain. I was like, oh. Actually, it was Tim Woodman. Tim Woodman shared a story, like literally what I just said. He was like, he was in a band. All the band members were kind of like getting together, cheating on each other, breaking up, broke up the band.
Wait, the band members were cheating on each other?
Yeah.
Where you went like and drummed for another band?
No. Like they were all like they were sleeping together.
Okay.
Yeah, they were sleeping together and
bro, that bass was supposed to be our bass. Okay.
They were sleeping together and then they were cheating and then it broke up the band. And he was like, this sucks. Like I don't feel good like cheating on my person, but like I want to have sex with these other people. There's got to be a better way to do this. And he explained like that's when he learned about or realized or whatever, oh, we could just like talk about it. Like, hey, this is the kind of relationship that I want. Are you cool with that? And if they are, then you go and do that thing together. You know, you can, people say like non-monogamy is cheating. It's like, well, it's really only cheating if there's no knowledge of it.
Right.
That was when I learned, I was like, I really think poly might be for me. And I told my boyfriend at the time, it was a different boyfriend than that first one that we talked about. But I told him I wanted to try that. And he was a little apprehensive at first. And we did eventually break up. I have not yet had a successful poly relationship.
What's your longest? Well, I guess the marriage was the longest one then. Wait, so you haven't had like multiple relationships overlap yet? Romantic ones.
Well, that's the problem, and that's what, and I see that I'm the problem in this, which is why I want to do things differently with this new guy. Like, I'm not oblivious. Like, I will be with my person, and then I want to be poly, and then I meet a new person, and then when I fall in love, I am so obsessed with the person, I can't help it.
Yeah.
And I probably don't give enough attention to my partners, but they're also not asking for it, or they're telling me that they're okay with it when they're not. And so then I can't give them any extra attention. And then usually a big blow up happens. Then that relationship fails. But I know that this is what I want in my life. So like, even if I have a ton of failed poly relationships and people are like, oh, poly doesn't work. I'm like, well, I honestly just don't think I've found my person yet. Because I think my person will want it just like I do.
Have you been able to successfully like have like casual sexual partners with one romantic relationship?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it just really anyone else involved is what's causing tension?
Yeah, I've been able to have casual partners, sure. It depends on who, and depends on if my partner knows that casual partner very well or not. But the thing is I tend to, if I'm having enough sex with somebody, it's because I like them. Like, there's not a lot of people that I want to have as casual sexual partners, because it is a very, like, despite what I do for work, sex is a very, like, intimate and emotional thing for me, like, in my personal life. And so if I am choosing, well, that's the other thing, I'm on SSRIs. It's hard for me to be horny anyway, so I better be like in love with, like, if I'm having sex with you, like, I'm in love with you, because we're like, that's the draw, is like that closeness, that intimacy, rather than just feeling horny. I don't feel horny anymore. I'm just wanting closeness with a person. So I don't have a lot of casual partners.
Sure. But once you get horny and like you've got that intimacy, like the sex feels good. Because I know.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been on SSRIs like at least in my sexual adulthood or whatever. But there's, you know, it's something I hear about a lot. Yeah.
So it takes a lot for me to get horny. It's like the way that the way that guys sometimes need to think about something else if they're gonna like get close to coming or something. So imagine that, like, your entire length of arousal, you're thinking about something else. So it takes like 4 times as long to like actually get your body going, because your body's just working against you. Like, it doesn't just feel good automatically. Like,
it's not as simple as foreplay, like physical foreplay. There's like a mental foreplay you got to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there's a lot of people dating people with SSRIs. Like, that is the best word I've ever heard anybody use for it, is mental foreplay. It's not about the physical foreplay.
TM. Okay.
TM?
Oh, like sometimes people don't know how trademark like stuff works, so they think that they say a thing. If they just say trademark, see, now it's mine. It's like, that's not how it works, but like, that's cute. So sometimes on podcasts, you'll hear people go like, TM. This is mine.
Yeah.
Mental foreplay. Put it on a shirt.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, like, if you're just giving me physical sensations, like, yes, they feel nice, but the way my brain works, and honestly, probably a lot of people who are on any kind of medication for mental stuff, like, our brains just work differently. We need something to like grab onto, so then our bodies will follow. Because if you go straight to the body, our mind is still going 100 miles an hour. We're not present with you.
And stop me if this gets like a little too like personal, and
That's
it's
fine.
not like, it's not perfect.
If it's about
reason.
me, I'll tell you.
No. It's no. It's a little bit about like okay. So you're saying like, if someone's doing like physical foreplay on you, like, yeah, like my body will like kind of work, but like you're not horny, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, so could someone be hooking up with you, or like you even doing a scene and like they feel you wet, but you're just not there? Is that, am I kind of understanding that right?
No, it's actually kind of the opposite.
Okay.
I'd say like I can, all right, the way that I don't get wet unless I have the mental foreplay. I think
Gotcha.
I think that's for a lot of women, to be perfectly honest. Like, we need to quiet our brains first, because, you know, and like, we're just not hardwired to just be like, sex, must have sex. It's like I need to be doing chores. I need to be running these errands. I need, like, we're going through a mental checklist. So you've got to like quiet our brains first to get us to then enjoy what our bodies are doing. So I won't be wet. I like to use a lot of lube at like on set, but so I won't necessarily be wet. The thing is you'll know that the mental foreplay worked when I'm just soaked.
Right.
The rest of the time, I guess, yeah, my body will like get a little wet because it's like it's just responding to physical sensations. But like if you want to like get me really, really wet, I've got to have that mental foreplay first.
Which is often for you going to come when you've got that intimacy and you've got that when you're in love with someone.
Yes. When I'm in love with somebody, or there's just like a very close connection.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like we're romantically interested in each other, but like we know each other intimately. I'm comfortable with them. I feel safe telling them what it is that I want. Like if they're doing it wrong, I need to feel safe that it's okay that I'm telling them that, and they're going to listen to the direction, and they're not going to be offended feeling like they're doing something wrong.
Yeah. I mean, my first post-vaccination like hookup was a one night only encounter, but because of like, we were all in lockdown and hadn't been with people for a minute. I had broken up with a girlfriend like several months prior. So we did what I call love play. Like we basically like pre-negotiated to like let ourselves be very emotionally irresponsible. Cause we did like a call. She insists on doing like a FaceTime date. I do not like doing those, typically. But we had like really good chemistry. And there was no like, I don't know what this is going to be, but this is like both of our way of like, well, finally, we're going to get to do stuff with people. And we just said like, you know what? We're just going to like be in love for a night. And we're going to like say things that like you should not say the first time you have sex with somebody. And, like because of, whatever the time period, we chose not to use condoms because like, you know what? It's fine here. And we just like, as soon as I got to her apartment, we just like fell into an intimacy as if we'd been dating for 6 months. And like there was lots of really hot sex, but there was lots of like talking about deep things that kind of carrying over from the conversation we had prior, and like fell asleep at her place, and like we said I love you, but like when I left, no one was confused. We both like, it's not even just like we role played love. Like I felt like I loved that woman.
Yeah.
For that night, for fans of the show, go back to Meryl's episode, a couple years ago. I was in love. And then when I left her door, I was like, and now I am not. And I know what that was. And it lived in that box, in that container.
Oh, I actually have something very similar to that. So
Please.
I totally get it. Oh, it's actually, I shouldn't say who it is because I'll tell you that off for reasons.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's, I know that he is an avoidant. So we we used to see each other like 6 years ago, and he would cancel plans, or I would be texting him first or whatever. And it's not that he didn't like me. It's just that he's Sagittarius, and he's so afraid of losing his independence.
How long did it take for her to bring up astrology? 32 minutes. Not bad. Usually comes up quicker.
But he's a Sagittarius, and he really likes his independence. And as soon as he feels like he's committing to something, he thinks like he's not going to be able to like be his own person anymore. And so whenever we're together, like we don't talk like that, but there is this just like when we're together, like we're a little bit in love, and then when we leave, I'm like, and that was that, and that's done, and like I'm just gonna stick that to the side until the next time.
He knows that when you walk out the door, like you're good, and he didn't, and you're not gonna blow up his phone, and so then that allows him to actually relax in the moment.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And it's funny, the reason we didn't work out 6 years ago, like we didn't. It's not. I could see this now going on for 6 years. And that's the thing is like, I guess a lot of people would consider him a casual partner, but I do have such like a deep love for him that I don't consider him casual. Like I think when I think of casual sex, I think of someone you don't have emotional ties to.
I mean, I like to like the people I fuck.
Yeah.
I don't need to like be romantically interested in them. But like, I like to like them if I'm going to repeatedly spend hours fucking and sucking and making out. And cause like, we need to talk in between the rounds. If we're gonna go, like, if, you know, there's someone like I'm seeing, she's like my Saturday person because that's when she doesn't have her kids. So it's like Saturdays I go uptown and like I spend like 4 or 5 hours up there. We do quite a few rounds, but you gotta fill the time.
Yeah.
I can't eat you out the whole time.
You could.
I could, but she gets sensitive after
that's
a while.
fair.
You know, we
That's
gotta give it a break. And then she needs to hydrate, and then maybe we gotta change the sheets again. So yeah, it's like I don't want to like sit there awkwardly like, ugh, how do I pull conversation out of this person?
Yeah, but a lot of people will have sex with people like that, where they're just like, wow, the sex is so great, but I just feel kind of meh about them. I think a lot of people do that because they're afraid of emotional intimacy.
Sure. Well, I mean, the way I would get around that is be like, well, can you co-work?
No.
That gives us that replaces the need for the conversation is, well, now let's get our laptops out. And then when we're feeling it again, then we can close them and distract ourselves from work. And then we could still get like 4 or 5 hours together, and I'll edit a podcast.
Hey. I mean, shit, that actually sounds like a little bit of an ideal situation for me. Maybe I need to find one of those.
You know, when you have to do the mental foreplay, TM, do you bring that into work at all? Or is it just we grabbing a big bottle of lube and we're working?
It really depends on the day. It depends on the crew. It depends on, honestly, where I am in my cycle. Okay. Like if I am the week before my period, I'm just, grabbing a big bottle of lube. I'm putting on my actress hat for the day, and I'm putting on a performance, and I'm getting the scene done. If I am anywhere near ovulating, like, I am there for it. Like, and then, like I said, that's like where I am in my cycle, how I'll respond to doing a scene. But then it depends on the talent. Is my talent paying attention to me? Are they just posting on Instagram? Are they hanging out in another room so we can't even converse? Like,
do you ever want to like grab coffee or do a phone call, like a fun phone call, just to get rapport with somebody?
Not really.
Okay.
I've never done that. I guess maybe like early on, I might have sent like a DM just to be like, hey, looking forward to working with you tomorrow or whatever. But then I learned that's just kind of like it's just not standard in my industry to do that. We show up to work. Well, yeah,
but if one needs some mental foreplay, like I could imagine, like one could ask to try to short-term stimulate that.
Well, that's the thing. I am only now learning that I need that mental foreplay. Like that's only been in the last like year. That's a realization I've come to.
That's a big realization to figure out.
Yeah.
Would you say your sex life's getting better because of that realization?
100%. But that's the other thing is it was something it's like I always needed it, but now I can put it into words. I've been getting better at putting things into words lately.
Yeah. And when we can put the things into words, it means that we can now actually go more easily go find and get it.
Because you can tell other people what you need. Yeah, and then if they can match it, then cool.
It's like when you're trying to like Google search like something and you don't even know the words for the thing you're searching for. Like, fuck, is that a difficult search? Once I learned like, oh, that's what it's called. That's what that little tool to like pop the little zit is called. Oh, now it's much easier to find it on Amazon rather than little steel tool to pop the zit on my lower chin.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was searching for...
I still don't know what it's actually called.
I don't know what it's called either. But I do the same shit. I want to get a custom table made for my place because I have kind of a small place. And I was looking for the legs that are like antique looking, where they're kind of like an S shape.
Yeah.
They're called cabriole legs.
Whoa.
And they have all kinds of different.
This is a free podcast. You just learned cabriole legs, everybody. That's crazy.
But yeah, no, it was driving me nuts trying to find the name for those legs. And yeah, once you learn words, everything changes.
Yeah. So to go back towards that like poly origin.
Oh yeah.
you have a light bulb. No, that's fine. It's fine. I knew I was still curious about something there so you have light bulb moment, you start exploring that, and you have some terminology now to use to go find it and whatnot. You also say like you've had a hard time doing poly, or like what you called like successfully being in multiple relationships, and you said like, and I know I'm the problem. Well, what is it about you that's the problem?
I fall in love with people and commit to them before I actually know who they really are.
Okay.
Because I love intimacy and I love being in relationship with people and I love having somebody to love on. And there is a part of me that is just scared of being alone because I have previously dated with little discretion. I have a tendency to choose men who are submissive isn't the right word, but they bottle up their emotions, and don't tell me when something's actually wrong. And a lot of these men were somebody was, well, I've never done poly, but I would try it, which I thought was a green enough flag. But the fact of the matter is, if they've never done it before, I really, I shouldn't have gone all in on it until I had tested them out. And that was the thing that happened with my husband, is he was like, I've always thought, an open relationship like would be cool, like sex wise.
Yeah.
He was like, so I'll try it. And then, I fell in love with him. So like, I'm all focused on him for like 6 to 12 months.
He's like, cool, this is what poly is.
Exactly. Yeah. While I'm working and fucking other people, and maybe once or twice I was like, hey, I want to go over like to this friend's house and like shooting content was a little bit like weird for him in the beginning. And then the pandemic hit. And then he proposed. And then I was planning a wedding for 18 months.
Not knowing probably right away when you were going to be able to do a wedding.
Yep. It was only until we were already married that I had the time, space, opportunity to meet anybody else. I went out, I met somebody, I fell in love with him, and then this concept that he and I hadn't actually practiced turned into reality, and it all just crumbled. So I'm the problem because I commit to people too early. I should have waited until I'd had multiple partners to see if he could do that. But I was just, I'm working on my anxious attachment where I like grab on and hold on for dear life because I don't want to be alone. But when you do that, you tend to attract people who have the opposite need. Like maybe they're a little bit avoidant because you reaffirm each other's beliefs. It's the anxious avoidant trap in relationships. And then they get upset and then that relationship fails. And the thing is that I'm already in relationship with another guy because I'm trying to do the poly thing.
Yep.
And then they feel like they've been cheated on basically because we go for so long having a different kind of dynamic.
Do you not run into any dudes who've like already done some non-monogamy?
I have now I have
the smitten boy.
the smitten boy.
That's why I just call it. Well,
He's the smitten boy.
Smitten boy. The smitten kitten. He's not a sponsor, but no, the smitten boy. Like, so he's got experience with this.
Yes.
Finally, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I did actually go on a date with a guy who was also poly. After the separation with my husband, went on a few dates with this guy who's actually like my massage therapist for a minute. And then I left that spa. So that was when I was like, hey, do you want to like get dinner sometime?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not going to make it weird while I'm his client. And he said yes. And we went on a few dates. And like, I just knew so early that he was just like not my type.
Sure.
He went in to kiss me and I was just like not feeling it. And I just had to end it. And, that sucked because I was really excited about him because he was so nice. He was so easy to talk to. Like, and
the free massages.
Like he wasn't like my typical type, but he was cute. And I really wanted to try to date the nice guy who was already poly. And there was no spark for me.
Right.
But I tried it.
But luckily he's not the only one. There will,
yes.
There are others.
Yes.
Who do it. Come out to Brooklyn, fucking everyone's just complaining that all the guys are poly. I feel like every other post they see on social media, on threads, is like some woman complaining about, another poly guy in Brooklyn. I was like, you gotta move, lady.
That's really funny.
You're in ground zero for it.
Oh. But yeah, the new smitten guy, he is poly. Mm-hmm. He's been and he's been divorced twice, so we also have divorce in common, which is like actually a really nice thing to connect.
It's not
on.
a red flag.
It's that's the it's almost the opposite. Like now I see like people who are just like, like I'm going to get married once and we're going to be together forever, and that's the only option. Divorce is not even an option. Like that's more of a red flag to me now than I've already been divorced, because I'm like, oh, you're still living in fantasy land.
Yeah.
I love that for you, but like people change and things happen, and you're not going to know until like shit really hits the fan if it's going to work out or not. You just don't. And like I hope you have the foresight to know exactly who you are and to marry the right person, but statistically there's a 50% chance that you're going to choose the wrong person.
So where do you meet people now? Like how are you? Sounds like you're pretty direct. I mean, we've covered the direct, but I mean, it sounds like you're not shy about asking dudes out.
No, not at all. Well, and that's because I've never been at a bar and had a guy come up to me. I just don't get hit on. And so I learned like, okay, I need to do it. Like,
and
I don't
do you know why they don't come up and hit on you?
I have several theories. For the longest part of my life, I just thought it was because I was ugly and not desirable at the bars.
Oh my God. The porn star being like, I'm too ugly at the bar.
Well, I mean,
they're not coming up to talk to you because you're too hot. Like being a 10 is like difficult because it's too intimidating for some people, for most guys.
Right. But like,
and then the guys who do have
that.
the audacity to go up to you, those are the guys who like, there's too much audacity. And then you see where else in their life you're like, people are scared to hit on you because they're like, she's just too hot.
See, even now I have a hard time believing that, but thank you.
I mean, that's what I would think. The 9 is more the 8.5 is more approachable.
See, and I don't know. I always considered myself like a 7.5. And it just, all right, I really appreciate the looks on your face, but like truly, like that is,
you're not like an indie content creator. Like I have an OnlyFans. You got to hustle the Reddit game. Like you are like you're a porn star type.
Sure.
I don't know.
But
from what I gather,
I grew up like with really, really low self-esteem. So it's something I still battle today. And because I'm like, you said it, not I, that like they're intimidated, it reinforced that belief, because I was like, well, I think I'm ugly and nobody ever hits on me, so I must be ugly. It just reinforced that belief. So
I'd be so curious if you dressed way fucking down and went out, if like people then hit on you. Like if you like showed up like in like cute sweats, but like sweats and like sun chill, I would be so curious if you got approached more. You
know, it's funny because that is actually like, and I've only noticed it recently. It's not that I'm like dressed down in sweats, but I'm just not as dressed up. Like I'm not trying to look hot. Yeah. I'm actually just trying to look cute. I'll get catcalled a lot more, or I remember I was in Target and some guy like came up and said something about really liking my vibe or whatever. And me like not thinking he's hitting on me, I'm like, oh, this is a scam. Somebody's going to be behind me trying to steal my purse. Like this man's just trying to come tell me I'm attractive. But that's just, I guess that's how my brain works.
So, but you have then since like developed the audacity, the ability, the confidence to go and hit on people. Or to ask people out?
No, I think it was just kind of always that way. I always thought I was going to have to be the one to initiate, because I think this guy is cute and he's not coming up to me, so I'm going to have to go to him.
Okay. And how's that been working out this year now that you've got this all this new understanding of yourself?
What's really funny is I am not actively seeking to date anybody right now. Like this is actually the first time, because we talked about that overlap, right? And the cheating and the whatever. This is the first time since I was 11 years old that I've been single. Like truly single. Which is funny, I say truly single. Like I have these like love interests, but I am not attached. I'm not committed to anybody right now.
How's it feel?
Oh gosh. It feels good. It feels scary. Oh, that's how, I was like, how did we get here? I'm not actively seeking anybody out right now, because being more alone is something I always felt like I needed to do, but I was scared to do. And I think I've just gained more confidence over the last few years, especially as I've been working through therapy, that like I can handle some things on my own. And while I love companionship, like I just want to focus on me and not have to worry about making sure somebody else is okay with whatever plans I want to make. Like, I just want to do me for a while. And it's very funny how that, like, the second I decided I was doing that, like, I started getting asked on a lot of dates. I started, like, so I'm not approaching guys anymore. And I just think my energy has shifted a lot. And I think people can feel that, like, subconsciously.
I think there's an element of, like, that's why, like, sometimes a guy, I find, like, I will get hit on by women far more when, like, I'm in an active relationship. And I feel like it's like, can they feel that there's a different energy about me? It's almost like you're a little less eagerly available.
Yeah, well, and I think that's exactly what it is. Like you said, not eagerly available. I would even consider, like, saying desperate. As you know, like I said, like, I had low self-esteem. I didn't think I was cute. Like, I was definitely, no. I would definitely say that, like, there was a good portion of my life where I was desperate to be loved. Because I didn't have, like, my childhood was fine, but I didn't have as much love in it as I needed. And so I have been searching for it since. And that has, you know, made me desperate at times. And I think maybe now I'm starting to love myself enough that I'm not desperate for somebody else to do it.
And then meanwhile, we got the smitten boy. What do we love about him? What are we digging?
God, he's so kind and empathic. He's very caring. He peeled my orange. Do you know about that on TikTok?
I don't know.
Well, maybe someone who's under...
I'm geriatric. I'm 34. So.
The under 25s listening to this will understand it. It's a trend on TikTok. Girls would ask their boyfriend or significant other, whoever, can I have an orange? And some of them would just start peeling it for her right away. Some would hand it to her and then she would say, can you peel it for me? And some of them were like, oh yeah, absolutely. And other ones were like, no, peel it yourself. And it's like it's very telling of how the relationship is. So it's a test. It's the orange theory.
I hate tests like that, but also who says peel it yourself?
There were an upsetting number of videos that went something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, that just feels like I've been married to you for 10 years type of, like, I feel like you got to earn being able to say something like peel it yourself.
Yeah.
While you giggle. Like, what? Oh, that's a weird one. Okay.
But yeah, and not only did I not ask for an orange, she was just like, this is the most delicious orange you're ever going to taste. And just starts peeling it and hands it to me. Like, and it definitely was. It's funny because I'm pretty sure it was like orange. It was like the type of orange that I used to have as a kid, like after soccer games, and they were my favorite. And I feel like I've spent a lot of my adult life searching, like continuously trying oranges. I was like, you know what? I miss having an orange. And then I buy it and then I try to eat it. And then I'm like, this is not a good orange. Like, and having no clue that, oh, it's just like a very specific type of orange that's only in season from like December to April. And I would have had to buy that kind of orange at that time to have the orange I liked as a kid. And yeah, so he peeled my orange. That was the point of that.
It's very nice to see you instantly light up as soon as I asked.
Like I said, I'm smitten.
The smile is so big right now.
I hope he listens to this. He knows how much I like him.
Yeah, you got to start picking through, like, which guy in your life it can listen and which ones can't.
Right.
You're like, I hope the soon-to-be ex-husband doesn't hear this, but I hope the smitten one does.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of them really listen to any interviews I do. I think I would have heard about it at some point if they had. What else do I love about him? He's a giver, but he's a dom. Okay. So he's a pleasure dom, and I have always been into like kinky shit, and I think he's like the first dom that because he's a content creator also. That's another thing I love about him is he really understands my job. He's totally down to help me, with whatever I need. He's very hospitable. That's one thing that I wish there was more of in my industry is aftercare. and I'm guilty of it too. Like, I mean, I'll check it. I'll be like, hey, you good? Everything, you know, like, and that's the conversation. But there's not a lot of like, you know, like I love a kiss and a cuddle and a talking about what we enjoyed after. And there is just not a lot of that. That's actually why I do a thing on my OnlyFans called First Time Fridays. So every Friday I try to either have sex with a new person I've never had sex with before, or I try something new that I've never done before. So really, I'm just like raising my body count rapidly. But it's been really fun. And the way I do it is we're not shooting porn. We're having a sexual experience as two people that have never slept together, and we're documenting it. And I leave in all the water breaks, all the talking, all of that stuff that people consider to be boring in porn. I actually think I would like to see more of that in porn. I don't watch porn because there is none of that. I don't feel a connection, because that's the thing. Either I know the actors, and so that makes it a little weird sometimes, or I have a hard time believing the connection because they're playing characters. Right. And they don't show anything with them like really like connecting, and I just don't watch it because of that. So I switched over to audio porn, and that's been better because then there's a build up of connection with the speaker that I'm listening to.
Backstory. We know why she's jerking off the pizza guy. She left her wallet in the car, and then the husband took the car to go take the kid. So she has to. How else is she going to tip? But we know the motivation. We know she's struggling in the marriage. They had a big fight at breakfast.
It needs to be believable.
Give it to me.
Give me the actual motivation.
I love like 70s porn, had all that storyline. 70s porn, yeah, maybe there's a quick little scene to like tillate, but then there'll be like 25 minutes before the next sex scene. And I'll be like, yes, Kay Parker, keep acting at me, please. Rip to a queen. But yeah, so like the thing I describe, and again, I don't pretend like I'm like, I do, you know, I don't pretend to like be a porn star. I'm a comedian with a fuck show, and I did the only time I've done PIV on camera was with my friend Lucy Moon, and like we just like set up the camera, and I actually charged the most for that to unlock that because I go like I don't like how I look in it, so I don't want anyone to see it. So you gotta pay me the maximum if you want to say. But like people said like I love that video because it just looked like you two were really. I didn't like fuck the shit out of her.
Yeah, we
like had really close intimate sex, and people were like I loved it. It looked like we got to like peek in at you how you would actually fuck her if the camera wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what I really enjoy. That's another thing I loved about Smitten Boy. Because I said like I run the camera the whole time.
Was he a First Time Friday?
Yes.
So now how'd you connect to how'd you connect to even do it?
So my assistant, she is another performer, Jay Taylor. She worked with him.
She's been on the
yeah?
show. Yeah, I fingered her on mic because she wanted to.
Oh.
No, well, she insisted. We slightly had audience because she had just finished doing a threesome scene, and I walked in like at the end of it with my gear. I'm like, "Hi, buddy," and then she's like,
so funny.
She's like, "Can they stay for the podcast?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, I guess so." I love an audience, so it was Sonia Harcourt and her husband and Jay's guy, and then Billy King, I think.
Okay.
Anyways, so at one point she's just trying to describe the A spot or whatever, and I didn't like. I know there's different spots with letters, but I didn't heard that one. So she's trying to describe it, and she just got frustrated. She's like, "Can I just show you?" I'm like, "Okay." And then so she pulled like her like panties aside, and she like, "Give me your hand." I'm like, "Oh, you mean like
show me?
You mean okay? Why not?" I gave Billy my phone. I was like, "Can you film this?" So I have like a video somewhere on my phone.
That's amazing.
Me fingering Jay, and so she's like taking my hand and like turning it up and down and like to the audience describing what she's doing. Be like, "And this is for the G spot. This is for the A spot. And blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
That's amazing.
And then the girlfriend at the time got really fucking mad about it. We were not monogamous. I was like, "I'm doing work."
Lame.
It was very lame.
Lame.
It was because I didn't text first, and I'm like, I didn't.
You're
know
in the middle
happening.
of the show. Sometimes that happens, and that's one of those things. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
So Jay reaches out to, like,
so Jay,
spots people to.
No. Jay's a performer, so Jay worked with him first, and then Jay was like, "I had the best time with this guy. You've got to work with him." And so when I went out to Vegas for a content trip, we decided to shoot together, and in the middle of that scene, I was literally what we were talking about earlier, where I said I'm having a hard time feeling my body. So he was doing all the things. He ate me out for a nice long time, but it's like 35 minutes into the scene. I've sucked his dick. We had some cuddles. There was some kissing. There was some caressing. We've already fucked a little bit, and I'm on top of him. And I just kind of stood up. I was like, "Can we talk for a second?" And he was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And I was like, "I want to keep you inside me, though." And that's how I really have sex. Is I'll have a thought, and I need to talk about it right now while you're inside of me. But stay inside of me, and I'm just gonna like grind a little bit while we have a chat. And that's what we did. And I was like, I'm having a really hard time feeling my body right now. And we talked about it. I ended up crying in his arms
while he's
inside of me.
Love that.
It's so crazy when I watched back the video, because he has really good mics, obviously, because like he's audio guy, and it's so audibly different from before that conversation to after for how wet I am. It's crazy. Like I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever been that wet in a scene as I was after we had that conversation, because I just ended up like crying in his arms because I had some realizations, and he was just there. He just pet my head and was just like, let it out. It's okay. And I left it in the scene because I think people should see that. I think people should see that like sex isn't just about like fucking a hole. Sex can be a deeply intimate experience where you can share your deepest, darkest shit with somebody, and they can be there for you and hold you, and you can literally be joined together in that moment where you're not alone with that feeling.
Allison, you getting me? Oh, love that. It's also because it's just a flood of various memories, like similar.
Yeah.
Sex can be all sorts of things, and like we can have whether it's someone crying or someone like making a really stupid joke, or hey, wait, do we have to? Like a schedule check thing, all while like someone's just on. It's like I don't know if I had a lot of those, and it's fun and it makes it's real.
Yes.
Like if someone's gonna pound a gaping asshole in the middle of it, can you be like, wait a second, what time do we have to meet your mother? Like if he just did that, that would make it a little more believable.
Yes. Yes.
And do you also think when you say there's not a lot of that in the industry of the afterwards? Do you think that's because everyone thinks that they're supposed to be professional, and this was professional sex, and this is not, no one's falling in love right now, so we can't be too intimate afterwards because we don't want to give anyone the wrong impression that I'm unprofessional?
There's definitely a little bit of that, for sure. Mm-hmm. I feel that pressure sometimes, especially when like I'm really into somebody on set and like we're kind of like rubbing up on each other or whatever. I will sometimes feel like, should I be doing this right now in front of the crew? Is this appropriate? Like, am I making people feel weird? Is this, so there's definitely a little bit of the worry of being unprofessional. But I also think aftercare is so much more common in people's personal lives because you are having an intimate experience. Mm-hmm. So after, he and I had that sex, he did just cuddle me for like 20 minutes after and just gave me all kinds of kisses, and it was so nice. And it's because we actually shared something. I think on set there is a level of disconnectedness that both performers have because you can't be super vulnerable with every single person you work with. There are some people in the industry that are not great. There's some energies that you're not going to jive with, but you still work with them because it's your job. You can, of course, say no to any scene, but then you're losing work. And a lot of us don't want to do that. So you kind of have to build these walls. I mean, when you build walls and you're having sex with somebody while you have some walls up and they have some walls up, you're not fully connecting. So there's not much aftercare to give there because you're already not being vulnerable. How are you going to be vulnerable to say like, I need aftercare?
Yeah. Yeah. And be like, and then he's like, no, peel your own orange.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not hostile like that. It's definitely more like professional.
Sure.
And, you know, a lot of people will give each other like a quick kiss goodbye or a hug or whatever. It's just, for the most part, once a scene is done, we all want to go shower. We want to pack up our bag and we want to go home with our check, because I think also the way that crews operate has lent itself to this. So if you're the first, if the crew is shooting 2 scenes in a day, if you're the first shoot, the crew is, once your sex scene is done, they're on to the next thing. They're very professional. They have a schedule.
Yeah.
And you know that you have a certain amount of time from when your scene is over to do whatever showering things you want to do, get your check, get a bite to eat, and leave the set before you are interrupting the scene and making noise for the next scene.
Yeah.
If you're the second scene of the day, very much a similar thing, where when the crew has cut with the scene, they're done, they're just thinking about packing up. They're doing a production run and they've got to be there early the next morning and it's already 10 p.m. at night. They have some shit they need to do at home. They're just thinking about getting out of there. So you're kind of rushed a little bit as a performer, unintentionally, just because the crew is worried about other shit.
Glad you've got some feelings, but you know, I'm fully clothed in jeans and I'm tired. And I've been holding this boom mic a long time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and it just becomes business.
Sure, and that seems to be the cool thing about doing like content, or I guess content creation. Which I don't know. I hope all the fucking phrases for the shit changes soon, because it all sounds weird. Like everyone's trying not to say porn, but like the idea that's a little bit more one-to-one connection. Like you can, you know, because you can make your own schedule.
And and you're on your own time, and you're not worried about somebody else like holding up anybody else.
So who approached who to be like, that was, can we with Smitten Boy?
It was me. So yeah, you're right. Exactly. I mean, after we cuddled, he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that I can't hang out," because he had a second scene that day. And I said, "No worries. Next time I come to town, I would love to shoot again." And he said, "Yeah." And then my Sunday, 5 days later, opened up, and I was like, "Hey, are you available? Would you want to shoot again and then hang out after?" And he said he would love to, and we shot. And he was taking very good care of me. He got me this big fluffy robe and he ordered food for us. And I was like, and this was a very fluffy white robe. It was like the nicest robe. And it was white. And I was sitting there, and I'm very neurotic. You might have been able to tell at this point. And I was like, "Oh, let me go upstairs and change. I don't want to get any curry on the sleeves." And he just like touches my arm and he's like, "No, it's okay." I was like, "But I don't want to stain it." He was like, "Then I'll wash it." And he just like completely calmed my nervous system. I was like, "Oh, okay." I actually really liked that. And then he gave me like a kiss on the forehead to like reassure me more. And then I said, "Can I give you a real kiss?" And he was like, "Yeah." And so then I kissed him, and then we've been hanging out and talking and things since then.
And wait, so when when was the first time it was, "Hey, you free?" And it wasn't free to shoot. It was, "You want to go get dinner?"
Well, after, like I said, I've only known him for like 6 weeks now.
Oh, that's
or
it.
7
Okay,
weeks.
okay. But have there been like non-shooting dates?
Well, he lives in a different state, so I've only like been there on work trips.
Okay.
So we haven't done
fair.
like a I'm just coming out to hang out thing. But after like that night, he was like, "Do you want to stay here next time you come into town?" Because he has a model room. And I was like, "That would be great." And I actually didn't know if I was like, he asked me if I wanted to stay. Is he asking me? Does he want me like in his bed?
Are
with
you still
him?
not sure if
No.
this is okay?
No. I know now because
Okay.
we talked about it yesterday.
Yesterday? No wonder you're fucking beaming.
Well, okay. Yes, we talked about it yesterday, but shit. When I stayed at his house, like I was like making breakfast downstairs for myself, and he's going to the gym, and he comes over and he just like gives me a kiss, like we've been married for 4 years, and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to the gym. I'll be back later. Let me know if you need anything." And I'm just like, who the fuck is this guy, man? It's wonderful. And so like, I knew he liked me, but he didn't like tell me. Like out, like it's a I know logically, I don't know emotionally that he likes me. And then so like yesterday, like he verbally confirmed it, And I'm starting to now know here in my heart that he likes me. It's nice.
I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
I mean, maybe I'm currently like in all my feels for on my shit too. So I think I'm just like tapped into all that.
Yeah.
I'm also smitten with somebody who is in a different state.
Oh, fuck. It sucks, right?
Yeah, but it's like I have reasons to go to LA. So I was like, I feel like that can,
She's in LA.
We'll see. Yeah.
Damn.
Actually,
that's a lot harder than Vegas and LA.
Yeah, but like again, like both with the podcast and comedy, like I can always just go to LA. I don't even have to like have a reason. I can like create reasons to go.
That's good.
Right? It's not
Okay.
like if it was in Seattle, I'd be like, I gotta wait for Dan Savage to like answer the email back and then
For
say,
sure.
So yeah, actually, I'm gonna meet her for the first time in like a week and a half.
Ooh.
I gotta cut that out because she'll hear that. But yeah, so I'm very happy for you. I can like see it all over you. It's really great.
Thank you.
There's probably a huge wet spot on the couch, I'm sure. So that's a good sign. Alison, this was delightful.
Thank you for having me.
No,
It was great talking to you.
yeah, thank you for coming on. Where can people go to find you, follow you, check out the tits I just saw?
Yeah, everything, all my links are on my website, AlisonReyFans.com. That's ALISONREY fans.com. There's like a my links section. You can find my Twitter, my TikTok, Insta, and then of course places they can buy panties and porn.
Mm-hmm. And to see First Fuck Fridays.
Yeah, First Time Fridays.
Sorry, First Time Fridays.
Although that's a good name too. That would have been a full alliteration.
Right, but also First Time is a smoother, easier probably to get past certain censors, probably
True.
A wiser choice.
True.
If I had known 10 years ago Man Whore Podcast might get some difficulties, maybe would have picked a different name. Maybe I would have put a 0 in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Alison, thank you again so much, and I hope you have a good set of Sapphires, and why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody.
Bye guys. Thanks for listening, and hope to see you on some of my socials. Get to know you better.
What do y'all think? Should I reach out to Alison about doing a First Time Friday? Just be like, we just want to be more representative of your fans' body type. That's folks, wait just a moment. There is more content with Alison Rey in just a moment. But just a couple points of business. Again, we're doing a watch party of Jen Harris's short film She's Clean, where she takes a shower with I think it was 14 or 15 different people. She's very naked through this, so you probably don't want to watch this at work. But that's going to be on Monday, June 10th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time in the Champagne Room, our super free, super fun, super sex positive Discord server. And you can join us at manwhorepod.com/Discord. You can always shoot me an email with your comments, your questions, your criticisms, your booby pictures to manwhorepod@gmail.com. I did take a topless photo with Alison. I mean, she's topless, and I'm just enjoying her topless state of being. She has a bonus episode coming out tomorrow on Patreon for all of my $5 and up members, and in it, at one point she references the titties. I go, wait, these are fake? And she's like, yeah, I just had them done. She's like, I'll just show you. And she took her top right off, and I love my job. And you can see that photo on my OnlyFans. All the links you need are in the schnotes. I'm going to play a teaser from my bonus episode with Alison that comes out tomorrow on Patreon. By the way, over on Patreon, you can also go back, scroll back, go listen to the Jay Taylor bonus episode where I finger her on mic. Because again, I just, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. But you also will stress out when you want to buy a new pair of jeans. But that's why we have the Patreon, and you're going to go join it today. Enjoy all the bonus content, folks. Patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. If you're going to make someone cream all over your sheets, just be sure that you wash those sheets yourself. It is one of the responsibilities when you stay slutty. If I'm sorry, but these are boob job tits.
Yeah.
They look very.
Oh my god,
they seem natural.
I'm gonna show you.
Oh.
Full on.
Okay. Now I see. Yeah.
But they're still super.
Yeah, you know,
natural
they're
for-
very bouncy.
Yeah.
I'm getting I did pay free podcast, everybody.
Yes, boob job boobs.
Well, no, we're sure on. They look very natural. But
Thank you.
Anyways, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. And career first.
You see,
Yeah.
you're feeling more mature. You might start getting the MILF roles instead of the stepdaughter role.
Yeah.